What we found that was different at this church was it was real. It was what we felt like was practical Christianity. It was the anti-sex trafficking, the going out on Princess Night, and it was serious business. It was, you get in a van, there's no chit-chat. They were serious about praying for each woman they came across, and that was different. We had a personal experience with addiction because our son had been addicted, so we had a personal experience with what a lot of the women were going through, and we could relate to that. Shortly after we were involved with the Atlanta Dream Center, our son passed away. He died of a drug overdose, and he was 19 years old. After Chris passed, we got the call around 5 in the morning. We prayed that God would not waste our pain. God used our pain through the Atlanta Dream Center, through the anti-sex trafficking, because I became a volunteer, and the women, inevitably, something would come up and they would ask me about my children, and so I felt like I should tell them, and it's almost like a wall went down, It was almost like an immediate connection. So I felt like God was using our pain to let me have a relationship with the women that maybe I would not have had before. I wouldn't have understood. So pretty soon after coming to the church, Pastor Paul was doing a relaunch of the church, and we went to this meeting, and he mentioned wanting a coffee shop in the lobby, and he was going to maybe ask a commercial coffee shop in the area to rent the space. But what he didn't know is that I had already had another dream in my heart was to open a coffee shop, and that it would serve as a nonprofit. It would serve the surrounding area as an outreach, and it would train women to have job skills and to be baristas. Pastor Paul called and said, "Well, what are we going to name the coffee shop?" And I said, "I assumed Atlanta Dream Center Coffee Shop." And my husband, Derek, said, "Oh, I think I have a name for it." So he named it Crisscross Coffee, with Chris being spelled C-H-R-I-S instead of C-R-I-S-S. And that is because if you write the name Christopher on paper, you will see that the T forms a cross, and the Chris is before the cross. When I was working with the women, I realized that they didn't have skill sets. So once they had completed their rehab program, I didn't know what they were going to do. And so part of Crisscross Coffee was to train women to be baristas. Once they received training here, that they could go out anywhere and get a job. I would say to people who experience pain and suffering that God uses that. God uses everything. You sometimes wonder, well, where was God? Well, he is there, and he will take that and use it for good if you allow him, if you surrender. The God dream is to not waste our pain. That was our dream. That seemed impossible, but was made possible through freedom given at the church to do that.